Do we have a choice?
So here we are. October. It's October, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, already.
Who remembers January?
I remember yesterday.
I know. It's just craziness, isn't it? It just reinforces to me the importance of living every day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And not we're having this conversation. We did a bit of a virtual walk this morning. We do with a group of people, and Justin was on that. We were just chatting about that, weren't we? So I think someone said, "Oh, I've had a, we're all sort of trying to. Obviously, this is more around the health side of things, but once this lady said, "Oh, it's been a," what did she say? What was the word she said? It's been a something like a devastating week or something. I said, well, it's probably not devastating. You're here, and it's interesting. We beat ourselves up for the stuff in our past. I do it. I'm probably the worst. You beat yourself up for what you did, what you said, what you did, what you didn't do, what you should have done. Can't change any of that. All we've got is right now, and I think.
Can I make a comment on that, Andrew? Because it's not just the past; it's actually how a lot of people deal with today. So you could say to someone at the end of the day, "How was your day?" And they go, "Oh God, it was such a terrible day." And actually, their day was pretty good, but then right at the end of the day, their car broke down on the way home. And so the one event that was a bit negative that happened at the end of the day is allowed to colour how someone reports and feels about their whole day.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, isn't it? It's true. But then when you look at it, and then you can stop with a bit of perspective and go, okay, well, the car breaking down, maybe that's a sign that I need a new car, or I need to service it, or it's actually not a bad thing, is it? It's good that it broke down and you're alive than break down. And
yeah. And look, there were stories that came out like that after 9/11 about people that hadn't made it into work on time that day. So, there was a guy had spilt coffee on his shirt or something, he had to go home and change his shirt. My godmother's daughter, I think her car had actually broken down that day. She worked in the towers. So, yeah, there were just stories like that came out that are where you're meant to be.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
also, if we hadn't been through the adversities that we've faced, we wouldn't be the people that we actually are today. That shapes every decision that we've made in our lives and going forward as well. And not in a negative way, but in a positive way.
Yeah. People who've never faced adversity often haven't developed any resilience.
Everyone's facing adversity. They just don't realise that they have.
And they don't
facing adversity is like learning to crawl, learning to walk. They're all facing adversities. That's how we build resilience right from an early age. And we keep going through. Some of us have just had some more severe adversities that we've faced through it. But we've all faced an adversity of some description.
Oh, of course. It's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, we've dived straight into it, haven't we, today? We've got right into the meat, which is awesome. But I guess the point is this moment that we're in is the moment we've got. And I think if we can just really embrace this minute, everything that's happened has happened. Everything that's in front of us is in front of us. What we have now is absolutely the magic right now. I love that. And the fact you're here is magic. Because a lot of people are not here. And they're going to miss the wisdom and the inspiration that comes out of this next 60 minutes, unless they watch the recording, of course. But there's nothing like being there, is there? Being there in the room and face-to-face, sort of, even if it's virtual. So Lisa's here with cracked ribs.
Wow.
Cracked ribs. Oh. Rosanna dobbed on you. What happened? You have to unmute yourself, Lisa.
I have to unmute myself. Yes, I've managed to crack 2 ribs. 9 and 10.
How'd you do that?
Is
it a bit embarrassing, is it?
Well, it's not, because it would be great to be able to say something like I was horseback riding or skiing or something like that, but I was washing my feet in the bath.
And what, you slept?
Yeah.
Hold in.
And cracked 2 ribs, yeah. So it's a bit embarrassing, but
don't ever let the truth get in the way of a good story, Lisa. You're an author. You're a creative. You know that.
Yeah, the pole dancing sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, go the pole dancing.
Yeah. That's a good one, Joe.
Horseback riding and pole dancing at the same time, hey? Yeah.
In the bath.
Yeah.
In the
That's
bath.
right.
With My Little Pony.
And she only cracked 2 ribs. That's impressive.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Hello, Judy. Everyone, this is Judy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judy.
Judy's just
Excuse my
very, very
tardiness. I
new
was at
to
the
this
gym having a
chatting.
lovely time.
Yeah, we're talking about cracked ribs. We're talking about we've been talking about all sorts.
I just joined where you were talking about pole dancing. I'm sure there's a story behind that, but anyway, move on.
There is. Don't worry, this conversation goes in all sorts of directions.
That's okay.
Judy's just very new, aren't you, Judy? Just started on
Absolutely.
your journey of becoming a very successful, amazing, life-changing author. So welcome. What we might do, just open it up to start with and see. I mean, because I know there's some awesome things going on. I know Justine's got amazing things happening, and we've heard about Lisa's cracked ribs, and Denise is doing wonderful things. And so why don't we just open it up and give us a bit of an update, guys, where you're at, and then we'll go from there. And Judy, please, actually, if you don't mind, do you want to just sort of introduce yourself a little bit, and just, if you're cool with this, if you're not, tell me. And
Sure.
But we'd love to hear a bit more from you and who you are and why you're here.
So good morning, I'm Judy. I am currently a full-time uni student studying psychology. Went back to started uni at 55. So there you go.
Yay.
And I've got 4 children, last of who's about to finish school this year. So I'm really seeing this as an opportunity for me to do what I want to do. I got approached by somebody to be a part of a book which just had 1 chapter per person, and I looked into that, but because I knew of Andrew, I reached out to him instead, and so look, after a chat with him, thought this was a much better fit. So that's me. Early days.
Awesome.
Whole new adventure ahead.
Brilliant.
It is an adventure ahead. Well, welcome.
Very
Welcome,
exciting.
man. It's always great to have someone fresh in the team, isn't there, in the group? Just fresh perspective and fresh insights. So, but hopefully, Judy, you'll get a lot out of this group and these people. They're pretty amazing. Justine, before you fall asleep, because Justine flew in, arrived, got home at 2 a.m. this morning, which is really only 8 hours ago. So she clearly has not had huge sleep. But you had some big success, didn't you? Tell us what happened up in Queensland.
Well, I don't think I've been on. Have I? I have been on since the first launch, haven't I? Have I?
Were you on?
No.
First launch was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, my book, Whispers of Resilience, here it is here. We had the book launch in Geelong, and Andrew came to that. So thank you very much for coming all the way across. We've been friends for now, about 3 years, and it was the second time we'd actually met in person. So he came across for it, and we had over 100 people come for the book launch, which just the number alone was amazing. We filled the room. It was a big room. And we had a really good night that night. MS Australia sent a representative from Kiss Goodbye to MS, which is the part of their fundraiser, because we're donating 25% of the profit of the sale of the book directly back to MS Research. And I had 5, 6 other authors there that night, and did an interview panel of those and videoed it all and have the promotional stuff for that. It'll go up online this week. And we sold, I didn't know what a good benchmark was going to be in selling at a book launch. So I think we had just over 100 people, and we sold 52 copies that night.
Awesome.
And I was very happy in selling that many copies. They were just walking out the door, and we had a long table with all the authors, because there were quite a few wheelchairs and that as well. And one woman she can't move from the neck down. And so this is a book all about MS It's an anthology, and I compiled 25 other authors from around the country and put them through a writing course themselves. And we all wrote a chapter. And so Kerry can't move from the neck down, and she had a stamp made for her signature. And so her sister stamped every book. So she still participated in the signing of the authors, which was wonderful. So that happened about 2.5 weeks ago. And then Thursday night I flew, last week I flew to Queensland and to Townsville, and there's 4 authors from Townsville. And so we did a mini launch, but it ended up being a big launch because we had just over 50 people at that launch, and we sold 28 books that night. We actually sold out of books, and I took my kids' book up as well. I freighted it up because I know the publisher, and I sent 6 books of those up. I thought, oh, you know, if they don't sell, I'll put them in my son's shop up there, and they all sold, and I could have sold more. So it's like bugger from that one, but it was fantastic. And the big news that I'm sharing is that without even trying, this book on Monday night, it went up on Friday on Amazon, and on Monday night hit Amazon bestseller. So we were number 1 in MS, number 2 in, I think, something like neurological diseases, and number 3 in biographies. And I've been watching the figures all week, and we hit number 1 in neurological diseases this week as well. So we've 2 number 1s and a number 2. So I'm just blown away by that. We've got the ebook coming out not next week but the week after, and we'll do an ebook launch. And fingers crossed, if I've got anything to do with it, we'll make that an Amazon best-selling ebook as well. So that's my news. I'm on top of the world. And at that
A little bit of news.
Yeah, at that book launch, you just never know who's going to be there. So we ended up with one of the MS nurses in Townsville was there, and she said that she was going to take it back to her boss, a neurologist, and say to him that they needed to get it in bulk at their clinic, and every new person who's diagnosed with MS needs to get a copy of it. And which is huge. And I'd already had a chat to the head of the MS nurses in Australia, and I'll be following up this week, sending her a free copy of it, and seeing if we can get that in all these doctors' surgeries. And that's what we wanted to do, was educate with this book, and it become a history book as well, that, you know, in the future there is no such thing as MS, that it is a disease of the past or affects very few people like polio. And it's a reference book in history on what it was like to live with MS. But from this as well, I've had people inbox me wanting to go into the next book. So it's rolled on. So I'm pretty bloody proud of what I've achieved in this year. And I want to thank, you know, Andrew. I know I thanked you at the launch, but I want to thank you here as well, because, you know, coming into these forums and working with you on a weekly basis keeps me motivated and going forward. So thanks.
What a legend.
Well done.
Just what a legend.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Amazing, Justine. Fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Brilliant.
well
And
done.
look, it did come with adversities. We've had a lot of issues on the back end, but we stop and we look and go, okay, you know, how can we keep moving forward? What would we do different next time? And we've had a big debrief on what we would do different on the next run through. And we're doing another book on lipedema as well, which affects 11% of all women. And I've got a list of authors people at this stage that want to go forward and tell their stories through that as well. And publicity wise, for Whispers, we've contacted Channel 9, all the morning shows, A Current Affair, you name it. Susie's my PR girl has put it out there. So we'll see what happens, and we'll get it out to the world. So I'm off to Ireland in a month's time, and I'm talking about that book at a castle, so in Ireland. So I'll try and reach the international audience, and I'm also going to Paris in March, and we'll talk about it over there as well at a conference. So
in French, will you talk about it in French?
Yeah, no, well, I won't be. They'll have to have an interpreter for me. I'll be using so much Aussie slang, it won't be funny. But I think, you've got to publicize your own books. You can't just let your publisher do that. Most publishers now will, and Andrew will tell you this, that you have to have your own marketing strategy, and while you're writing your book, start thinking about what you're going to do and how you're going to promote that book within your networks. And if you're close to publishing or writing, start compiling a pre-order list. When you tell someone that you're writing a book, do they say, oh, I'd love to buy a copy of that? Start a spreadsheet and start putting their emails in it. So then when you're close to launch, or you've got your publisher, and that you can say, I've got this pre-list of people that want to order a book. So
good. That's amazing. Yeah, well done, Justine. Incredible, as always. And I don't know if anyone now feels courageous enough to talk after Justine. It's sort of everything.
I wasn't going to talk.
The rest of us feel like we're absolute lazy slugs, right? I don't know about you, but I feel like it when Justine tells us everything, reels off all the stuff she's doing and achieving.
You don't want to know the half. That's not even the half of it.
Please tell us no more, because we feel bad enough as it is. We all feel useless enough as it is. No, only kidding. Well done, Justine. That's amazing.
Thanks. Awesome.
Just keep running, guys. I guess Justine's this beautiful example of what's possible. And, every one of us has got the capacity to create the same results, as Justine. It's just
or better results.
Or better. It's just all it is focus. It's focus. It's consistency. It's work ethic. And everyone can do that. Every one of us can do that. No, there's none of us to go, oh, sorry, I don't have work ethic, or I don't have the ability to be persistent and consistent. We all have it. It's just a decision.
There's a really good TEDx talk to watch. And I tell everyone this, and I think I've told it in the group before, but I'll say it again. Watch Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. Okay? Action something straight away within 5 seconds. When you drop a piece of food on the floor and you go, 5-second rule, and you pick it up and you eat it anyway because it's only been there 5 seconds and no germs are going to hop on it in 5 seconds. If you have an idea or you need to do something, action it in 5 seconds. And that's how I live by. If I have an idea, I write it down. If I think I've got to do something, I go and do it in that 5 seconds. We spend far too long procrastinating on doing the item that we need to be doing than just getting in and doing the item, whatever it is.
Very, very true. Same as that 20 seconds of insane courage, right, that we've spoken about before. Just 20 seconds is just, you said 5 seconds, 20 seconds, just do it before you start thinking about it and analysing it.
Yeah, and talking yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So true.
Out of your brain, what do they say? There's 3 steps: out of your head, into your heart, into your hands. Head to heart to hands. So it's the idea. The idea comes that gets us excited, but then the problem is we go from our head to our heart back into our head, and that's when we talk ourselves out of it. So your head's a great place to come up with the idea. It's not a great place to analyse whether it's a good idea or not, to actually move forward with it. And I've spoken about this before. I talk about the idea of logic. We feel like we've got to logically analyse whether something's a good thing for us to do or not. And I feel like logic, that's not the place for logic. I think logic in the decision-making process is the wrong place for it, because I think logically, when we think about something logically, we will come up with all the reasons why it's not a good time. It's not the right idea now. But logic is, in my mind, logic comes after you've made a crazy decision. Logic then goes, okay, I'm going to be a best-selling author. How do I do it? No idea. Then logic comes into play to logically work out, how do I do that? Logic, to start a business or to whatever it might be, run a marathon. Like, you might go, oh, yeah, but I can't run 5Ks. How am I going to run 42Ks? Well, remove logic from the decision making process, make the decision based on a feeling that you have or how good that will be, then trust me, there's always a logical pathway to get there.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I think we can all probably tell stories of how that's been manifested in our lives. Every one of us could tell a story of how we've done something and go, my gosh, never thought I could do this, but you've done it. And when you look back at it, it makes sense, right? It's logical. The path to achieve it is logical. Often the decision you made was out there, way out.
Like starting a publishing business last year. I didn't like the contracts that I got. And now look how many lives that it's going to change.
Absolutely. I think, and so that's a really big part of this. You know, when you're starting to doubt yourself, stop thinking, think about what you want. Just think about how it will feel when you have it. Get started, take that step and know that logically there is a way, and you've got support, don't you? All of you have support. If you've got someone who's here to help you every step of the way, just don't resist that help. The most dangerous place for most of us is in our own mind, with our thoughts and our beliefs.
100%.
If we don't change those, nothing will change. Anyway, gee whiz, we're getting into some heavy stuff today. I'd like to hear from some other people. Anyone, thoughts, ideas, updates? Rosina.
Hi everyone. Not as big a wow, but a big step for me. So it's all kind of learning. I went a couple of weeks ago. I drove over to Adelaide, which is an 8-hour drive, to a writers' festival. And there are a couple of speakers that I wanted to hear, but I went specifically because a publisher would be presenting, and I thought it would be an opportunity. And I actually submitted my manuscript to this publisher and didn't hear anything. So that was like 4 months ago. And I thought, oh, maybe the idea was maybe I could just have a chat to them or something. And anyway, so at the end of their presentation, it was like I was nervous, but they were talking to something, and then the next session was starting. I was like, well, do I or don't I approach this person? And I thought, look, I've driven all this way. I've got to just at least approach them. And I did, which was great. And I said, hey, how do you know whether, I said, look, I've submitted. It's been past the 3-month deadline where, on your website, you said, if you don't hear from us, it's a no. But just in the panel now, you said, look, get in touch with us if you haven't heard. So I said, I'm getting in touch with you. I said, I haven't heard from you. I said, how do I know that A, it's not a good fit for you, or B, the writing's crap?
Or C, they're considering it still.
Yeah, well, yeah. And he said, oh, look, what's your name? What's your details? Blah, blah, blah. So he's taken it and he said, I will investigate. And I thought, fine. And so my job now is and I haven't heard it, my job now is on Monday to send a follow-up email and say, hey, we spoke, and just see where that goes. And it may be a no, but it was a big deal for me to actually go up and say, hey,
Well done.
what are you doing with my manuscript? So, and also there was something, I think, in that process that weekend, was learning to start feeling comfortable with the no's as well, and thinking, okay, I'm just practicing getting no's, and that's okay. Whereas, as Andrew would know, no pun intended, the devastation I didn't get any, feedback or something. So it's like, no, okay, I'm just getting closer to a yes. I just don't know when that is. Yes, Justine?
I got a no when we were in Bali that I submitted 2 years earlier.
No.
And I'd already published the book by then.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But it meant that it just showed that it takes them that long.
Takes a while.
But and on Rosina's point, and this is an important point, the standard, again, we want to get results, and we need to do what we can do. And we think that, publisher says don't contact us, and we think, well, we can't contact or reach out or follow up with the publisher. Well, why not? And let me just say that what you did, Rosina, firstly took a lot of courage, so well done for doing it. But let me tell you, do that enough with other publishers, and you never know what will happen. And some of you know Sue and Justin, they're generally on the Tuesday evening forum. they've co-written a book. They started publishing submitting a few months ago, and there's one publishing house that I think came back quite soon and said they're open and interested. Look, they'll get back, and they didn't get back. And so Sue just said, well, I'm going to follow up. So she followed up, made a phone call, sent an email, and followed up again. And that publishing house has just sent them a contract.
Wow.
Now, would that have happened? Here's the question. Because often publishing houses, they get so bombarded with submissions that, the pile gets so high that the ones at the bottom just get sometimes probably just even get forgotten about. So who knows, had they not followed that up, would they have got that contract? Maybe, maybe not. But they said, no, let's take control. Let's do everything we can do. If you piss off a publisher because you contact them, who cares? Who cares? The chances are you're never going to hear from them again anyway. So what you've done, Rosine, is awesome, and I want to encourage all of you when you're at that stage of submitting, just disrupt it. Don't, like they say on the, they'll say on the, if you don't hear from us within 6 weeks or 3 months or 6 months, assume that we're not interested. Don't make that assumption, because that assumption potentially is going to cost you a publishing contract. So I think that what you've done, Rosine, is wonderful, and that is a big deal. And I know you're downplaying it, but that's a big deal. So well done.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, and just learning to do more of that. So yeah.
And it's okay. As you said, you're going to get some rejection. Some of them are going to say, no, not interested. And you go, okay, wrong fit. Don't want them anyway.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome, Rosanna, and well done. Okay, who else has got some wonderful news to share, or any news to share? Or any questions to ask? Or any challenges they need overcoming?
Well, you and I last spoke, and you thought it would be a good idea for me to bring this up at the forum when it comes to titling your book. I am struggling with a title. When I sent my manuscript off to Julie for assessment, she discouraged the title that I had and had a few suggestions, but they mirror what the subtitle is. And so Andrew thought I should bring it up to the forum because everyone has to title their book. And because the subtitle talks about the fact that it's a book overcoming my 3 obstacles of traumatic brain injury, bipolar disorder, and immune deficiency, as well as being disabled. And I don't want the title of the book to mirror the subtitle of the book. So like coming up with something esoteric. What's the process for those of you that have titled a book? How did you go about coming up with your title without being repetitive in the subtitle?
Yeah, that's awesome. Denise, let me just add a bit to that. So Justine and I had this conversation, and what was your original title?
No, that wasn't this book. That's the other book.
Denise, what was your original title?
Shed the Shame and Thrive.
Okay, Shed the Shame and Thrive. So what I said to Justine,
and then we changed it to Unbreakable Spirit.
That's right.
And there's already a book titled by that name.
Yeah. So the thing I said to Denise was, when you've got a subtitle which is so descriptive, right, and a subtitle is very descriptive, the title should have nothing to do. My thought, this is my thought, and this is why we want to put this out to you guys. My thought was it should have nothing to do with that. It should be just an attention grabber. Like a title just needs to be something that goes wham and grabs your attention. You go, okay, I wonder what that's about. Then you read the subtitle. Okay, that's what it's about. The title, in my mind, is just something that grabs attention. So if people are scrolling through Amazon or if they're walking through a bookshop, the title's going to go pow, right? And that's why I think even one word, 2 words.
It also needs to be so on your front cover with your title, so it picks up all the SEOs so it's Google-licious, so it'll search easy. You need to have some key points of what the book is actually about in your subtitle. So you could just have one strong word as the title.
Yep.
Let's just use the word inspirational or something like that. It could be any word, but then it's your subtitle. So I had to change the title for Whispers of Resilience. So Whispers of Resilience was fine. It was a subtitle. We had our MS stories on this cover. So this is not the one that now is available on Amazon, this cover. We changed the cover for Amazon. So it's Whispers of Resilience. Our stories are multiple sclerosis, then in brackets MS. Because we couldn't presume that everyone knew what MS meant. We actually had to write on the cover and in the title, so people could then, when they're Googling a certain, like your ABI, not many people know what an ABI stands for. All right. Those of us that have an acquired brain injury or work in the medical field know what an ABI is.
I've got an ABI breaks. Is that what that is?
Yeah. There's a business called ABI here in Australia.
Yeah.
So think about in your title or your subtitle what can be Googleable, that what you can, if you put into Google books on acquired brain injury, it would come up as an acquired brain injury.
I think she's done that. I think
Right.
she's done that well with the subtitle. I think what we need is, and I like the idea of one word. So Denise, if you were to think about your journey and if you could describe it in one word, what would it be?
Fulfilling, but exasperating.
Okay. Exasperating.
I mean, I finally
Exasperating
have a full
fulfillment.
life again after being a vegetable 18 years ago. It's been a journey. It's just been a really long, hard journey. And I'm trying to share how I went from being a vegetable to being able to write a book and live on my own and take care of myself. And share that with other people to help them get into the same situation that I'm in now.
Yeah.
And so overcoming everything.
Awakening. Just Rosena's put a couple of things in the chat. And I think it'd be good if you've got just some brainstorming ideas, if you've got some thoughts for Denise.
What was the byline again?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me. It's like a triumphant journey overcoming traumatic brain injury, bipolar disorder, and disability.
Okay.
A mixed bag. Rosena's put a mixed bag. She's also put awakening.
I like awakening. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't mean for y'all to help me find a title for it. I was mainly just hoping to think about the process that everybody has gone through to finding their own title.
All right. Well, let's open that up and see.
And the other thing is, I think, yes, find a title that you think fits, but if you end up being traditionally published, the publisher would easily change that title too.
Well, they won't change it. They'll make suggestions. They'll potentially suggest you change the title.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me for 1 sec, guys.
So you could do something like Rising Above the Storm.
I like that.
Let's just have a look on Amazon with how many
I've just had a suggestion, something like more than brain injury or something like that, more than adversity, more than trauma, more than
it seems.
More than it seems.
Or even just rising.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of thoughts and ideas. But again, I think from my perspective, a title will come to you. The title will find you rather than you find the title. That's just, for me, how it's always been. I've never had to stop and spend hours contemplating a title for a book. I mean, I've had an idea, but it's just always in a moment of writing or in a moment of hearing something, because again, if you just open your mind, Denise, if you just say God, universe, I need a title, I need the right title, I'm open to whatever comes my way, then just you put it out there, then just get on with what you're doing. And I'll tell you what, one moment, whether it be 2 a.m. in the morning, you're listening to some podcast, you're at a forum, you're writing, and you write something, go, there it is, right there. And I know that's happened for me multiple times. Certainly with my mum, with Dance Until It Rains, that title actually has really, when you think about it, it's got nothing to do with what the story's about. But I was listening to a podcast and someone told the story about Dance Until It Rains. And I thought, there it is. That's it. So it'll come. It'll happen. And I think you just got to open your mind and heart and just know that you'll get to find the perfect title for it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, because I think this is a cool conversation, because the title is a big part,
Making it happen.
I like that.
There's making it happen, because you've made everything happen from beyond being diagnosed.
Yeah.
Awesome. I keep coming up when I'm thinking of a title for, say, Denise's, about titles that are already published, like I was thinking like Phoenix Rising trilogy or something. So it might be a good idea to sort of look at some other title things that you have in the back of your mind. And then I think, as Andrew says, something will jig that will be similar to something like that. And you'll think, oh, wow, that's it.
The other thing, and I told this to Denise, just because there's other books out there with the same title doesn't mean you can't publish a book with that title. Because I know if I Google Dance Till Rains, there are other books with that title, and I know there's other books with potential titles. Making it happen. I mean, there's going to be other books titled Making It Happen. I know there's a book called Making It Happen with two sort of, what do you call them? Those exclamation-y symbols that represent shit, making shit happen. But so they're going to be other. It doesn't matter, because as long as if your book is different to every other book out there. So if the title's the same, who cares?
It's then the byline that makes it different.
Absolutely.
But there's other whispers of resilience. So when someone's Googling whispers of resilience, my book will pop up. They may not be looking for it, but they'll stumble across whispers of resilience, but then go, oh, this one's about
there you go. So that's a good market. It's actually not a bad strategy to have a book that's got the same title.
When it goes on Amazon, you actually have it listed in all these categories, but then you put in all these prompts for Google. And there's a really famous book on MS called Overcoming MS. So that was what I put in. And when someone's searching for Overcoming MS, that book, up pops Whispers of Resilience. So
that was very smart.
Further down, and you just have a look at some of the books on acquired brain injuries that are going really well, and it'll tell you on Amazon where they're ranked and everything. And the publisher puts in the search engine on what people are looking for, and it'll pop up with your book. So don't worry about it.
So can I just ask a question? Does that mean there's no restrictions like copyright or something on a book title?
You can't copyright a book title.
Okay.
I don't think. Justine, you probably know better than me, but I don't think you can copyright a book title.
No, look, I don't think you can either, and you can't, because that is just a few words together.
You can copyright your book, clearly. Your books, your content's copyrightable, but I don't think.
You wouldn't call it exactly the same as something else.
Yeah, I would have thought there would be some sort of legal restriction. I've seen people even try and copyright certain combinations of words. I've heard of that before.
No, you can't copy. You can trademark. You can try and trademark words, but then there's restrictions.
You can't copyright words. It's goodness me. It's the language. I mean, how do you copyright language? I mean, you can't stop people using words.
So I wanted to trademark Resilience Mindset, which is one of my businesses, and I was told no, I can't, because it's too common a phrase to actually trademark it. But what I can do is trademark the logo, which has Resilience Mindset, and my logo is then trademarked. So the title, you wouldn't want to call it exactly the same as someone else's book anyway.
Yeah, I was just interested in the legality side of things. So I registered a new business name this year with a colleague of mine, and every time we went looking for something we thought sounded really good as the business name, somebody else had that name. And it's also, they've tried to, there's actually a procedure that's part of what we do, and someone's actually probably trademarked the name.
So to register a business
trademark.
name, yeah, and to register a business name doesn't give you the full right of that name. It's just ASIC's way of monitoring how many small businesses there are in Australia. If you want that name, you then have to then go and try and trademark that name or trademark the logo. And if someone then is using that name, then they can get in trouble because you've trademarked.
Gets expensive very fast registering all the trademarks. I think it was like starting point was $700 or something. So,
but yeah, Denise, it'll come to you.
And on
Okay,
that,
Justine.
can I just suggest, like you were talking, Andrew, about just, you know, it'll just come to you. If you think about that as a question, perhaps this is just a suggestion from my background training. Pose it to yourself as you fall asleep at night. And there's actually a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, and it works while you're asleep. So if you've watched or been looking for the similar titles like Justine was, oh, gorgeous, like Justine was saying before, and then pose it to yourself as a yes-no question, even as you're going to sleep, a fairly simple question about, like, is this the new title for my book? And your brain, and tell your brain how to symbolize the answer to you, like it might be a red traffic light or a green traffic light, and then see what comes to you as you wake up.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. I think he's company. So.
Anyone else got any struggles or concerns or celebrating something?
I haven't spoken much yet, but I'm about to get to cricket. But I thought I'm on my first book because I don't know anyone here except Justine and Andrew, really. So, and I'm hoping by the end of the weekend to nearly have the first copy done before I first edit it. So I've done 17 chapters. So, but yeah, so we're nearly there. And then we go into all the fun part of constant editing and going to an editor and doing all that. But getting exciting.
What Justin didn't say was that that's been since July.
Sort of, yeah. I sort of started. I was about 4 chapters or 3 chapters in when we got to Bali. So, yeah. So we're getting there.
What's the book about, Justin?
It's a bit of a memoir. My life. I'm 49, so my life's been a bit of a. I refer to the word roller coaster a little bit in the beginning. So many ups and so many downs, including, you know, financial, relationships, death. Things like that in the last sort of 10 years. So a whole heap of things, but I'm very sports orientated as well. So lots of highs and lows there and things that make you learn a lot in life. And yeah, so it's a whole myriad of things, but I sort of work my way through it. Yeah. And
right.
Justine, hearing you again today is a great thing for me with my book, because you are just like an inspiration with everything you do. You're a freak. But some of the things you say really resonate with me with sort of as far as the book goes and doing things and even putting a list of people and getting their emails, because it's amazing because I've got a big sporting background world. A lot of people who are finding out about me doing a book, they're like, oh, I'll buy a copy when I get it. No worries, let me know. So I'm like, okay, now I'm going to get all their emails.
What so you can do is put a Google form together. Justin, get someone to put a Google form together because I know that you're a technological dinosaur. A Google form.
Cop that, mate. Cop that.
Yeah, no, this is brutal. That's all right. I need that. I'm fine with that. Thanks,
all right. So get one of your kids to put a Google form together for you, and that people can register, and then it'll automatically save into a Google into a spreadsheet for you. And, you know, you just give them the link, fill this in if you want to pre-register for my book. And
right.
you've got that list. And then that list as well then goes for when you've got your book launch, you've got a list of emails ready to go that you can then send out an invite to everyone for the book launch. And then when they don't come to the book launch, you've still got that list. Okay, it's on Amazon, guys. Here you go. Purchase your copies.
Okay, so Google Form, is it?
Yeah. But just inbox me and I can walk you through it. All right.
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, good. So that's me. I thought I'd just say hi briefly. I'm about to go. So it's been good to listen to everyone this morning.
Have a good game of cricket, mate.
Yeah.
Enjoy your day off.
See you next time.
And before you go, Justin.
Yeah.
Before you go, and before we're going to wrap up in the next 10 minutes, but there's 2 events coming up that I think most of you know about. There's the live one in Melbourne, which I think a lot of you are coming to, the Aussies anyway. And then the day before, and this notice has only just gone out, and I'll put a link in the chat, is there's a lady named Kate who Justine knows and Justin knows. She was in Bali, and she's on a mission to try and change the world of gambling because it's devastated her life, almost took her life as a result of a gambling addiction. So we're doing an online event on Friday, which for the US people, that'll be a Thursday evening, about shame and turning shame into your superpower. Because it's such a addiction, it's this whole, vicious cycle that shame leads to addiction. Addiction builds, creates a shame, and so on. So many people are stuck in that. So it's actually going to be a pretty powerful conversation that Kate and I have. So it'd be worth attending, and certainly worth anyone that that might be suffering any kind of addiction. It doesn't have to be gambling, but any kind of addiction or struggling with shame or adversity. It will be very, very worthwhile. So I'll pop the
What time was it? Is it this Friday, Andrew?
No, it's the 20th. So it's the day before the event on the 21st. So Friday the 20th, or for the US it's the 19th.
At what time?
At 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 10 to 11:30. And then that would be in the US, that'll be sometime on the Thursday evening. But as I said, I'll put the link in the email that I send out now for obviously for both events. But Justin, I know you want to be there if you can, because you and Kate have got a bond as well. So anyway, just thought I'd do that before you disappear, Justin. So mate, have a good day.
So you'll have to pay for my day's work then, Andrew, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Kate will do it happily.
I'm joking.
You can actually join and work at the same time.
Yeah, probably can. I can probably do it with headphones in and
Yeah, good.
whatever.
Absolutely.
All good. Okay.
All right,
Enjoy that.
good on you, mate. Talk soon.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, guys, we're wrapping up. So any final thoughts, questions, any burning questions you might have, or something that you feel like you just need a word of encouragement to help get you unstuck in a certain area? Anything you've taken away from today that's really helped?
Just thanks for this group.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
It's nice to see you, Felicia. I haven't seen you for a while, so I hope you're going well.
I am. I think we've just missed each other on the calls.
Yeah, Felicia was at the last one as well.
Okay, I missed the last one.
Good to see you as well. You all are always motivating me. I'm sitting here writing now, so
that's great. That was good.
When's the next forum, Andrew?
The next forum will be November. It'll be 5 weeks because I'm away. The 4 weeks is the 4th of November. I'm going to be away that weekend, so it'll be the following weekend. So it'll be the 11th of November, and that's the 10th of November. But I'll send out the email now. I'll send you an invite, so you'll have all that stuff. That'll be the next forum.
I'll be in Europe, so I may not get.
Well, you'll be able to join the.
I'll be having dinner.
You'll be able to join the Tuesday one because that'll be your morning.
I'll be having dinner with Fergie, remember?
Of course you will. We'll get Fergie. Get Fergie to join. We'd love to have a chat with Fergie.
The Duchess of York.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, wonderful to see you. Thank you again for everything, all your contribution, and just being part of this group. It is a wonderful group that inspires me every month, and it's always good to have you. And I'm proud of every one of you, and not wanting to come across as condescending, but for being here and for just keep on keeping on, and know you've all got amazing things still to do, and you are doing amazing things right now. So I want you to celebrate yourself right now for everything you're doing. So well done.
Thanks, everyone.
Give yourself
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, everyone.
All right, guys.
Have a great month.
Talk soon.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
See you, Judy.
Bye.